In the quiet town of Haverfordwest, Wales, on April 11th, 1963, twin girls were born to Caribbean immigrant parents, Gloria and Aubrey Gibbons. Their names were June and Jennifer Gibbons. At first glance, the twins looked like ordinary babies, identical in every way, beautiful and healthy. But from the earliest days, there was something different about them. They were slow to learn how to talk. They avoided eye contact with outsiders. And when they did speak, it was often in whispers that no one else could understand. By the time they were school age, June and Jennifer's behavior was deeply puzzling. Teachers noticed that the girls seemed to live in a world of their own. They walked in step, mirrored each other's movements, and appeared to communicate without words. They almost never spoke to anyone outside their bond. In fact, psychologists later discovered that the girls had developed their own private language, a rapid-fire mix of English and Bajan Creole, spoken so quickly and softly that it was nearly impossible for anyone else to follow. To the outside world, they were silent. To each other, they were everything. Childhood isolation. Growing up in 1960s and 70s, Wales was not easy for the Gibbons twins. Their family was one of the few black families in the community, and the girls were often bullied at school. Their silence made them easy targets. Other children called them names, mocked their accents, and excluded them from games. Instead of reaching outward, June and Jennifer turned inward. They became each other's entire universe. They would shut themselves in their shared bedroom for hours, whispering, laughing, and sometimes screaming in their strange language. Their younger siblings, baffled and sometimes frightened, often described them as if they were living in another dimension. Attempts to separate the girls only made things worse. At one point, school officials tried to place them in different classrooms, hoping it would force them to interact with others. The result was catastrophic. The twins completely shut down. They refused to eat, move, or even open their eyes. It was as though one could not function without the other. The inner world. By their teenage years, June and Jennifer had retreated almost completely from the outside world. They refused to speak to their parents and siblings, communicating only through writing and occasional whispers. And they wrote, obsessively. Both kept diaries, filling them with detailed accounts of their inner lives, their emotions, and their conflicts. They also began writing fictional stories and novels, filled with violence, obsession, and dark fantasy. Jennifer's stories were especially disturbing, featuring themes of possession, death, and twisted relationships. June's writings revealed jealousy, fear, and a sense of being controlled by her twin. Both sisters seemed trapped in a paradox. They could not live without each other, but their bond also felt suffocating, even destructive. In one diary entry, June wrote, "We have become fatal enemies in each other's eyes. We feel the irritating deadly rays come out of our bodies, stinging each other's skin. I say to myself, can I get rid of my own shadow? Impossible or not possible? Without my shadow, would I die? Without my shadow, would I gain life?" Her shadow was Jennifer. Crime and chaos. As the twins grew older, their isolation deepened. They spent most of their time locked in their room, creating elaborate rituals, playing with dolls, and writing stories. But they also began to act out their darker impulses. They started committing petty crimes, shoplifting, vandalism, small acts of rebellion against a world they felt excluded from. Soon, their behavior escalated. They set fires. They committed arson. In 1981, at the age of 18, the twins were arrested for setting fire to a tractor showroom. The court declared them a danger to society. But prison was not where they were sent. Instead, they were confined to Broadmoor Hospital, Britain's most notorious high-security psychiatric facility. Broadmoor was a place designed for violent criminals and the criminally insane. For June and Jennifer, it became a new prison. Locked away among dangerous inmates under constant supervision, the twins withdrew even further into their strange, inseparable world. Nurses reported eerie behavior. The twins would move in perfect synchronization, eating at the same time, turning their heads in the same direction, even blinking in unison. When staff tried to engage them, they remained silent, communicating only with each other in their secret language. Their diaries during this time grew even darker. June wrote about feeling dominated by Jennifer, calling her a dark shadow who possessed her. Jennifer, in turn, wrote that she felt compelled to die so that June could live freely. The staff began to notice an unsettling dynamic. Jennifer seemed to control June, but she also expressed despair at the bond that chained them together. The mysterious death. After more than a decade in Broadmoor, the twins' case gained media attention. Campaigners argued that they were not violent criminals, but mentally ill young women who deserved treatment, not imprisonment. Finally, in 1993, doctors agreed to transfer them to a lower security facility. It should have been the beginning of freedom. But Jennifer told June something chilling before the transfer. At long last, we are going to be free, but one of us has to die. On the day of their move, Jennifer was strangely subdued. She rested her head on June's shoulder during the car ride, whispering that she was tired. When they arrived at the new facility, Jennifer collapsed. Hours later, she was pronounced dead. Cause of death: acute myocarditis, sudden inflammation of the heart. No poison, no drugs, no injury. Doctors could find no medical explanation. It was as if she had simply willed herself to die. June was devastated, but in the days following her twins' death, something incredible happened. For the first time in her life, she began to speak freely. She opened up to doctors, staff, and even journalists. The silence that had bound her for decades was broken. She later said, "I was free at last, liberated, and at last Jennifer had given up her life for me." The story of June and Jennifer Gibbons continues to haunt psychologists, writers, and storytellers alike. Was their bond an extreme case of twin telepathy? A shared psychosis, sometimes called folie à deux? Or something more supernatural, a pact written in fate? Their diaries, now studied by researchers, reveal extraordinary insights into the human mind, obsession, and the terrifying power of identity. They raise questions about individuality, dependency, and the lengths to which the human spirit can go to survive. June still lives today, though quietly, away from the spotlight. She has spoken occasionally about her and Jennifer's story, but much of the mystery remains locked within her memories. The silent twins are not just a story of siblings, they are a story of obsession, darkness, and liberation. Two lives lived as one shadow, until one vanished so the other could finally live in the light. June and Jennifer remind us that sometimes the scariest prisons are not built of bars or stone, but of the mind itself. And perhaps the most haunting truth is this: Jennifer's final words may have been a prophecy, or a choice, or something far stranger. But her silence and June's voice that followed will echo forever in one of the darkest, most fascinating mysteries of the human psyche.